Greetings of the day. My name is Dr. G. Thouseef Ahamed. I am a faculty from MBA department. Specialization is in finance. Today we'll discuss about a topic which is cost of capital. Before we get into the topic of cost of capital, we have to know that what are the sources of raising the capital that are available to the company. Generally, there are three sources of raising the capital. Number one is long-term debt, and the second source is preferred stock, and the third source is equity. Within equity, we have two sources. One is common stock, another one is retained earnings. So when it comes to raising the capital that is required for the business to finance its investment proposals, these are the common sources from where the company can raise the long-term capital. Each of these source has a cost associated with that. Like if the company raises the capital from the long-term debt, it will be termed as cost of debt. If the company raises the capital from by issuing preference shares, then it will be termed as cost of preference shares. If the company raises the capital through the equity, then it will be termed as cost of equity. So every source has a cost associated with that. But in reality, many of the companies don't raise the capital from one particular source, but rather they raise the capital from multiple sources. So in that case, instead of calling it as cost of capital, it will be termed as weighted average cost of capital. In short, it is called as WACC. So based upon the weightage in the capital structure, we decide to calculate the overall cost of capital. Now, the formula to calculate the weighted average cost of capital is as follows. It is cost of debt into weight of debt into 1 minus T plus cost of preferred stock into weight of preferred stock plus cost of equity into weight of equity. So this is the formula which is used to calculate the overall weighted average cost of capital for the company when the company raises the capital from multiple sources. If you can observe the first component here, which is cost of debt into weight of debt into 1 minus T. The reason for having the T here, the T stands for corporate tax. As when the company raises the capital from the long-term debt, the company has to pay the interest. And interest, it is something which cannot be taxed. So interest actually provides a tax shield to the company, which will actually help the company to reduce its overall cost of debt. That is the reason why we include 1 minus T. That means the cost of debt is going to be reduced by the tax shield that is provided by the interest. Okay, that is the reason why we keep 1 minus T here. Okay, so to calculate the weighted average cost of capital, we require 7 pieces of information. One is cost of debt, weight of debt, corporate tax, cost of preferred stock, weight of preferred stock, cost of equity, and weight of equity. Now, in this session, our focus will be on how the cost of debt, cost of preferred stock, and cost of equity is calculated, and what are the methods that are followed to calculate the cost of each source of capital. Moving on with the first component, that is cost of. We have some methods to calculate the cost of debt. Method 1 is very simple method where you actually ask the investment banker to do the due diligence of your business, to examine your financial condition of your business. Based upon that, the investment banker is going to propose a certain percentage as a cost of debt for you. The second method is benchmarking. So in this method, what you do is that, like, every company has a credit rating. Based upon the financial condition of the company, the specialized credit rating agencies are going to give the credit rating to the company. If our company, if it is having a double B credit rating, we will try to seek if there is any other company which is having similar kind of a credit rating and it has already issued some debt in the market. So whatever the interest that they are paying on the debt that they have issued, we can use that same interest as our cost of debt. So that is what it means by benchmarking. You simply follow the other companies which are having similar kind of a credit rating and you use the same rate that they are using as your cost of debt. And the third method is yield to maturity. So in this method, if the company has already issued some debt in the past, and if that is still in flotation in the market, what you can do is that you can calculate the yield to maturity. How it is calculated? For example, in the past, the company has issued a debenture whose face value is 100. So, and that debenture now in the market is being traded for 150. And let's say this debenture carries an interest rate of 6%. That means on the face value, the debenture holders are going to get 6 rupees as a dividend, as a interest. So in that case, we will write like 6 divided by 1 plus I to the power of 1. For example, if this debenture has still the maturity of, let's say, 3 years, so it would be like 6 divided by 1 plus I to the power of 2. And the third year, you will actually get back your interest as well as the principal amount. In our case, the principal amount or face value is 100. So you would get 106 divided by 1 plus I to the power of 3. So we try to solve for this I by using trial and error method, so that this part of the equation becomes exactly equal to 150. So we try to solve for this I, and this I will be called as cost of debt. So this is one method, the third method that we use to calculate the cost of debt. Moving on to talk about preferred stock. Preferred stock, we use like preference shares can also be two types. One, it can be redeemable preferred stock. Another, it can be irredeemable preference stock. If it is a redeemable preferred stock, then the cost of preferred stock would be calculated by using this approximation method, which is dividend plus RV is a redeemable value minus net proceeds divided by N. N stands for how many years the preference stock is going to mature in, divided by RV plus net proceeds divided by 2. So this is a formula that we use to calculate the cost of preference stock if it is a redeemable preference stock. If it is an irredeemable preferred stock, the formula is very simple. It is dividend divided by net proceeds. So this is the formula we use if the preferred stock is irredeemable, perpetual preferred stock. This is what we use to calculate the cost of preferred stock. Okay. Moving on to the third last component, it is cost of equity. The cost of equity can be calculated mainly following these methods. One is we call it as CAPM, that is capital asset pricing model. The formula is like this. So it is risk-free rate plus beta into market returns minus risk-free rate. So by using this capital asset pricing model, we can calculate the cost of equity. Here, risk-free rate is the rate which does not carry any interest. So for this, we generally take the government securities as a benchmark to calculate the risk-free rate. And the beta of the stock is it is a measure of volatility of the company's stock. Depending upon the volatility of the company's stock, we calculate this portion. This entire portion is actually talks about the premium that you receive. Okay, so the premium is calculated based upon the volatility of the company's stock. So market returns are nothing but the returns that the market is generating. It can be Nifty, it can be Sensex. So that average market returns will be considered. minus risk-free rate will be used, and it will be multiplied with beta, that is the volatility of the company stock, that will help you to calculate the cost of equity. So this is one method of calculating the cost of equity. The second method is dividend growth method. So the formula to calculate the cost of equity as per this method is dividend in the next year, D1, divided by net proceeds plus G. So this is another method to calculate the cost of equity for using the dividend growth rate method. And the last method is bond yield plus risk premium. If the company has already issued some bonds, we simply add the component of risk premium to it in order to get the cost of equity. So these are the few common methods that are used to calculate the cost of different components: cost of debt, cost of preference stock, and cost of equity. Thank you.